So my students love games. They love things like Blooket and Gimkit and Kahoot. I think they might just really like pressing buttons. So when it comes to trying to learn skills or a new concept, there are some problems with these types of games, but I do have a possible solution. So stick around, we'll talk about it. Hi, I'm Robin Mellum, children's book author with HarperCollins at Disney Hyperion, and I'm also a middle school teacher. I teach writing, ELA. Most of my focus on this channel has to do with a structured writer's workshop where I have this whole system set up where the students lead the workshop and there's all these motivation techniques built in and these certain set of 6 skills that I teach on repeat. And at the same time, there are standards that we have to cover and things that they need to know and basically like memorize to be ready for state testing or any kind of testing. So there's terminology, vocabulary. They need to be able to identify the difference between a noun, a verb, an adjective. We have to know these things and have them in our common vocabulary so we can even talk about them when we discuss writing. And so one of the things we do when we're trying to review a concept is to do a game. And I found Kahoots it was a long time ago. I cannot remember how long ago this was, right when they first came out. And everyone was amazed by this whole idea that they could watch on the screen, vote their answer, we could see who won and everything. Super cool. And then it just blew up. Kahoots, Blookets, Gimkits, all of these kinds of things. And the kids love all the bells and whistles and sounds and buttons and things you can earn and all that. And so I was taking a look at this though one time because I had this situation where it was like at the end of a Kahoot, I had a student who was kind of near me and I heard him say under his breath, he said, "I hate Kahoots." And I was like, "What? Why? Everybody loves Kahoot. What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Because I have to rush. I don't like to be rushed and I feel like I have to read it really fast and I don't get it and I never win. And it's like a stressor for him." And I never really thought about the fact that even though it's fun because there's button pressing and sounds and songs and theme songs, even in Halloween, which are super cool, there are some kids who really struggle with using those types of review games. And there are 3 problems that I see with it. One is that the kids find they have to rush in order to win. So that idea of rushing doesn't really make sense to me, especially with ELA concepts where I want them to stop and think deeply and critically. Maybe like in math facts, if they need to do their multiplication tables, I could see the rushing is a good idea. For some of them, that just freaks out their little systems. They don't want to rush. That's not fun. That's just too much. And they hate it. And they might not even be saying anything to us because all the other kids seem to love it. So it's something to think about. Like, is this working for everyone? And then the second thing is that with that type of setup, if you notice, it seems like the same kids always win those. Like we always know so-and-so is going to win the grammar one or the geography one or whatever because they're super good at it. And that kid loves it a lot. But if there's always like this set person or group of people who win every time, that's not good either. And that was bothering me. And then the third thing was that when we do games, there's not really time for collaboration to like talk to each other, figure stuff out, bounce ideas off each other. Even when we do, teams, like when we would do Jeopardy online, they'd have to be in these groups and try and come up with the answer together. But there was this frenziness to the game where it was like they're trying to figure out who in the group has the answer, tell us what the answer is, run up there and say it. And they're just rushing and they're not taking it in. They're not internalizing what it is that they're saying. They're not actually learning it. So I had been thinking about this really deeply because that's what I do on a car ride one time when I was coming home. Like, how do I fix these things? How do I keep them from rushing? How do I keep it to where it's not always the same kids who are winning, that they're actually learning and that they are collaborating and think deeply about the topic so they really understand it and it really sticks. And I came up with something and I'm going to show you. I have props today. So here's what we do. We kind of kick it old style and we do It's called Brain Battle, and it's this game I came up with. It's so fun. It's when you were a kid, maybe you would take cards and you would split them in half and you flip them over, and it was a game called War. And like in the 80s in Georgia, we would play this like 10 hours a day. We play War was all we did. So it's like War, but it's with grammar topics, figurative language, sentence structure, and all that. And then I built in all these other things with it so that they collaborate, they can't rush, they have to get the right answer. There's accountability built in, and there's like this little Willy Wonka fun factor in there. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. So it's like a totally different thing. So I want to talk about this game. You could make something totally similar to this. I'm just going to show you what the game looks like on my screen. Okay, so here's what I came up with to solve this problem of making sure that they learn when we're doing a review game. I made this game called Brain Battle. I had so much fun coming up with the name, and I had someone draw the two little brains battling, which was so fun to watch that whole process of have this game kind of come together. And I'm going to show you the parts of it, and then I'm going to show you what the cards look like inside of it. So here's what you could do. You could make like a battle board where you basically take 8 or 10 or whatever of your terms that you want them to know and understand, and then give each one of those a point value. So in this one, like simple sentences are 10, compound are 9, complex are 8, and so on down to the subject predicate. They also have to identify comma splices, fragments, run-ons, and all that. And they get these cards that I'll show you, and they have the battle board with them. They work in pairs to do this. And they have an answer key, but it's not the pairs who have the answer key. It is the judges who have the answer key. And this is how I ended up coming up with a way to differentiate to make sure that all of the students were involved. Here's what we do. So like every pair gets 40 playing cards. So here, these are my figurative language cards, those blue ones. And inside of those, they have these 2 power-ups, which I'll show you. And there's like one little secret thing in their cards as well. And they like split them in half, and then they flip them over, and then they decide what kind of example do they have in their card. And then if they have the highest point value, they keep both cards. That's how we used to play War. If you had the highest, you keep them. And then whoever has the most cards at the end wins. And to ramp it all up, I did add a quiz in here as well, and I'll show you that. But the thing about this that's different is that it's a game of luck. So it kind of depends on what they flip over. And they battle it out. So one of them will win, but they do have to collaborate and talk to each other in order to figure out what it is that they have on their card. But they don't have, there's no timer on it. It's just if you want to time it, like when we're done, we're done. But they don't have to rush to get the answer. They can sit there and think about it and kind of bounce ideas off their partner to figure out which one it is that they have. Now, if you have students who have mastered it, you could give them the role of judge. They have a clipboard, they have the answer key, they kind of wander around, and they can help out with any problems where maybe the pair, they don't agree on whether this is a simple sentence or a complex sentence or whatever. But now you have all levels of learners involved because you can give them different jobs. Here's the Willy Wonka effect in here. So here are the power-ups I put in. There's some of them that are ×2. And then what I like to do is I put this little treasure card. I do a couple of them. If we do this like if there's a whole class, I'll put a couple of them sprinkled just somewhere in the room. There's some pair that has these treasure cards. So as we're all playing this, somebody will find the card when they flip it over and say, I won the treasure. And then I give whoever like the pair actually gets the reward, which is usually like a Jolly Rancher, because they'll do anything for a Jolly Rancher. I don't know why. I mean, I would too. But giving it to both of them kind of makes the partner pair not feel quite as competitive, like they're in this together, you know? So next time they might win it then. So here's like their little judge card that they could put on their shirt or something. And if they get stuck, they hold up this deadlocked card to say, we need some assistance. So now your whole class is engaged. Everybody's playing the game. Judges are walking around helping out. You now get the time to kind of walk around and listen to their conversations. And the cool part of this is that it's just like running itself. So what I do is I look for who is best in battle, like who collaborated the best, who was supportive when the other person won a round. Did they congratulate their partner? Like I'm listening to their conversations and trying to figure out who wins BIB. The nice thing about when they are doing collaboration is that because there is like this point system, their natural inclination is to hope that whatever they've turned over is the highest value, right? So they want it to be whatever 10 is, simple sentence, I guess. So they have to think of why it's not. So trying to figure out like why something isn't something is even more powerful than trying to just remember what the definition of it is. So they're naturally talking about it. I made this for GPT, and I do include like some support materials as well with that. And then what I like to do, here's the other thing that really makes it work. In these cards that I give them a quiz, and the questions on the quiz are in the card somewhere. So there's always like this feeling of mystery and stuff. And there's like, okay, 10 of those cards are going to be on your quiz. So not only should you collaborate when you're playing this game, but you need to really learn it because you're going to be quizzed on it. So it's going to be in your best interest for you all to talk about it and get the answers correct each time and know why. So that's kind of what's missing sometimes when we do games like Kahoot and Gimkit and Blooket and all that. And I actually do those now just for rewards. So we do the fun Blookets and we do the fun Kahoots. We do logos and we do Marvel and we do like dessert foods and Halloween candy and all that. And now they love that because the review part of it is now this, where it's more collaboration, there's more talking, there's deeper thinking, and they are quizzed on it. I made mine in black and white too for anyone who wants this. But then I went crazy, you guys, and I made them for figurative language. This is sentence structure. I did parts of speech, and then I did a punctuation one as well. I'll show you a little bit closer up of the card. So if you wanted to do this yourself, you might already have task cards or something that you could cut up and use in the same way. So you just I have 40 cards with different types of sentences, and then they have letters on the bottom right corner, so that corresponds with the answer key. This goes on the back with this cute little logo. So you go through this, and I'll just kind of scroll down there really quickly, and then you can see again that they have the power-ups that will be kind of sprinkled throughout there. There's the power-up there, and then their treasure cards there. So 2 different groups will win the treasure when we do this. So that is just a different way to think about how you do review games and how you get your kids talking and remembering this stuff. There's a lot of stuff they have to memorize, right? But to do it in a way that actually sticks is what we're aiming for. So if you make your own, you could do that. If you're more interested in this, I'll give you a link below to show you what I've done. I think I'm going to move on to 7th grade next and kind of hop around to all the different grade levels. I'm having way too much fun making these. So if you are new here, I also have some freebies down below that I'll link for you. I think my camera froze. Oh well. But I have a freebie you could download the introduction to my ebook about how to run a student-led writers workshop and get them insanely engaged in writing. We've had such a fantastic year, and it's been so awesome to have all you teachers along with me and doing it this year. And I'm seeing your pictures and your emails and your posts, and it's awesome. All right, so we will talk next time. Keep looking around the videos if you want to find more information about a student-led workshop, and I'll see you next time. Bye.